So here are the ingredients for Auntie Anne's Copycat Cinnamon Pretzel Bites with cream cheese dipping sauce. There are 3 separate ingredient batches. It's pretty a lot of steps in order to make this. So the first step is for the actual pretzels, and we have our 1/4 ounce pack of active dry yeast. We have our cup of warm water, which I have a thermometer in because it has to be at 110 degrees. We have our 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. That just means regular sugar, not powdered. And then our 2 tablespoons of lightly packed brown sugar. We have 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, 1½ cups of bread flour, which this is the bread flour here. And then we have regular 1¼ cup of all-purpose flour. And then plus they say a little bit more for dusting. We have 3 cups of hot water boiling on the stove and a 1/4 cup of baking soda, which we have right here. I just bought the box. So these are all our ingredients for the pretzels. Now for the coating, because we have to coat the pretzels, we have to have 1/2 cup of melted butter, which is essentially 1 stick of butter. I am using salted because it didn't tell me whether I should use salted or unsalted. Then we have 1/2 cup of the granulated sugar and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. The next part of our recipe is for the cream cheese dipping sauce. We have 4 ounces of cream cheese. This here is actually 8 ounces. I'll have to cut it in half. 2 tablespoons of softened butter, which I pre-cut. 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And 2 tablespoons of whipping cream, which I have there. So those are all our ingredients. We're gonna put it together and make some awesome pretzel bites. So we are going to start with the pretzel bites. For the pretzel bites, now the recipe does call for an electric stand mixer. I don't own one, so I am just going to use my handheld mixer. Plus I have my little whisk that will help me. So the first thing we're going to do is my water is at 110 degrees. I am going to pour it into the bowl. Then I'm going to add the 1/4 ounce of baking yeast into the water. Now, instead of the entire amount of sugar that it calls for, it's stating that right now we only have to put in 1/2 teaspoon, make sure it's leveled off nicely, into the mix. Then we have to whisk it up. That's good enough. And now we have to wait 10 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer on my phone for 10 minutes. Alright, so we are back. What it says now is to fit mixer with whisk attachment. Again, I don't have a machine, so I'm just doing all this by hand for now. However, we can add in the remaining sugar, which is 1 tablespoon, and 2 1/2 teaspoons, which is essentially 1 teaspoon, but that's all right. So we're gonna add all this in. Our brown sugar, which is 2 tablespoons. Our vegetable oil, which is 1 tablespoon. Get that in there nice. And our salt, which I want to say was 1 tablespoon. And we're going to whisk it up ourselves. So this looks like dirty water. But these are going to be delicious pretzels. Okay, so now I'm done with this. Gonna set this to the side. Have to have this on low, and we have to add in the bread flour and mix until well blended. So we're going to, says low. Sticky and messy. I think it's fascinating that all these ingredients separately, they don't really mean much, but you follow a recipe and you put it together and you have the most delicious snacks. It's pretty fun. Okay, and slowly add in all-purpose flour. So being that this is so sticky, I don't think I'm going to be able to use my mixer. So I went and got myself some gloves, and I'm going to mix with my hands. Let's see, it says to slowly add in, it actually says to switch attachment to hook attachment. I have no idea what that is. So to slowly add in the all-purpose flour. So that's probably about a quarter of it. Gonna mix it in there. I actually think I need a little bit more warm water. I went and got a little bit of warm water. There we go. There we go. This is, I think this is perfect. I'm going to take off one glove so that I can look, see what's next. Okay, we kneaded it. It says you can add up to a little bit more flour if you need it, if you want a soft dough and it may seem slightly sticky. So while this seems a little bit sticky, I don't think we need any more flour. Now it's telling us to transfer it to a buttered bowl and cover it with plastic wrap, and then we have to allow it to rest in a warm place until it is doubled in size. I have my other bowl here, which I've already slightly buttered. I'm gonna put that bad boy in here. I'm gonna cover it up with some plastic wrap. And then I will see you in an hour and a half when this apparently is going to double in size. Very exciting. See you in a bit. All right, so it has been an hour and a half, and there's our dough as compared to before when it was about half the size. So right now it's calling for us to separate it into approximately 6 equal parts. It's a little bit sticky, so I'm wearing my gloves. That should be interesting when I try to use the saran wrap. Let's see. The saran wrap is always a little complicated to begin with. Ready? I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna put my dough onto the aluminum foil because I don't have any parchment paper. Now it's saying about 6 equal parts, so I'm going to have to just eyeball it since it's not going to be an exact science. So we'll start by about half. It's sticky, oh my goodness. And the aluminum foil is probably loud and obnoxious to the camera. Alright. So it looks like I've done about 3 equal portions, give or take. So since it's not perfect, just do what I can. Looks like I could take a little bit from here and add it to here. If you hear that sound, that is my oven that I have preheated to 425. So here's approximately 3 portions, which I will now split in 2. I don't know if the gloves are making this better or worse. I gotta be honest with you. Take off one. And it tells us to sprinkle the tops of them with some flour. And whatever we're not using, to wrap in plastic. So that's what I'm gonna do so that it doesn't harden. I'll be back as soon as I'm done wrapping these. All right, so I just finished wrapping up our portions that we're not using. And the reason why we wrap them up again is to prevent them from getting hard. So I have my last portion here. They're telling me to roll it up into about 24 to 28 inches, and the way to do this is you can kind of pretend it's a jump rope. We'll see how that goes. Alright, apparently the aluminum foil is too noisy, so I already cleaned my counter really well, so we're just going to use the counter. Make it easier for ourselves. Okay, I think that is about as long as I can get this. I'm looking to see where are the thicker pieces, so maybe I can make it a little bit longer from that end. Okay, and then it says to cut them at about 1.25 inches each. All right, so we are back. We have hot water. It does not say boiling water, so I basically heated it and turned it off just before the boiling point. So hot water, put that there for now since it's hot, and the baking soda now, your quarter cup, I'm sorry, of baking soda. Okay, all my baking soda is dissolved. So now I'm gonna cut these pieces. It's about 1.25 inches, maybe a little bit more. A few pieces. They're not going to be perfect in size, but they'll be just about bite size. Just below. Now it's telling us, I'm just going to double check, we have to put them into hot water. Roll them up, cut them up, pour the hot water and baking soda into a mixing bowl and whisk to dissolve. Using a slotted spoon, dip several pieces of the dough into the water, then lift and allow excess water to drip off. So, there we go. Oh, it's starting to float. Now we're gonna allow the excess water to drip. There we go. Takes the stickiness away. I know there's a science behind it, I just don't know it. So now what I've done is I've pre-cut up several of them. I've already preheated my water, and I'm just going to start putting these bad boys together. After this, we have to do the coating, which is butter and cinnamon and sugar. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna transfer these over to another pan, reheat my concoction here, a little bit of water and baking soda, and come back to do the rest of them since I'll have to separate them into 2 pans. Alright, so as we can see here are our cooked pretzel bits, which I'm going to need a spatula to pull them off, and here are the raw bits that I'm going to put in the oven now, and then we're going to put these bad boys together. See you in a minute. So we are all set to get these pretzel bites together. I have melted 1/2 cup of butter, and I have my sugar and cinnamon, which what we're gonna do right now is whisk together. I have some chunks of sugar in here, so I'm just gonna break those up first. And then I'm gonna add my cinnamon. And there we have our cinnamon sugar. Okay, now we have our slotted spoon again, and it's asking us to put the pretzels into the butter. So I'm just gonna stir it around a little bit, get it all gooey and in there. Let it drip and then place it in a plate. It asks that we let them sit for about 2 minutes before putting them in the sugar and cinnamon, otherwise it just gets clumpy. So I'm gonna put 2 of them inside my small pot. I'm gonna flip them to make sure that I get both sides. They're all nice and buttery. Transfer to the plate, let them sit for 2 minutes. We want them to absorb. We've already whisked together our sugar and cinnamon. Next, we're going to dip them into the sugar cinnamon mix, and then we get to serve them and taste them. It's the best part of doing these Zooms, right? We're all set to dip this into this sweet mixture. It's been about 2 minutes. Roll them around in there. Put them to the side. They look yummy. I cannot wait to taste them. So now we're going to make the cream cheese dipping sauce. That is going to be yummy. So in a mixing bowl, it's telling us to whip the cream cheese, which I have left out for a little while so that it could get nice and soft. Put that into my bowl. It's going to get a little messy here. Actually a lot messy, being that I'm using my hands. I'm going to have to go rinse my hands out in a minute. So we have that, and then the butter that we've softened. So before I actually start mixing it, I'm gonna put it together a little bit, soften it up, and mix it a bit with the fork, because actually it's gonna get stuck onto my my electric mixer there. Okay, now we have to stir in the powdered sugar and vanilla and mix until it's fluffy. So I'm actually going to start with the vanilla, since that's the only thing I don't have here pre-measured. Calls for half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of some vanilla extract. Maybe by now you guys already know how I feel about vanilla. I love it. Okay. And we'll add some of the sugar. We'll add some of it. No heavy cream yet. So now we're going to add in the heavy mixing whipping cream, I should say. Add that in. Okay, so here we have it. Our cream cheese dipping sauce, and you know I have to try it. So let's see. It's not too sweet. I thought it was going to be a lot sweeter. Okay, the next step is to place this into an airtight can and refrigerate it. And before that, though, of course, we're gonna taste it with our pretzels. So finally, after all this time, we are finally ready to taste test these amazing little Copycat, Auntie Anne's Copycat cinnamon sugar pretzels with cream cheese dipping sauce. So here we have one of these delicious looking babies. I'm going to put some of the cream cheese dipping sauce on it. That was very yummy. It's buttery, the cinnamon and the sugar. I have to tell you, if you have the time, these are worth making. These were delicious, and I think they're gonna be a big hit when I bring them into work. Have a wonderful day. I'll see everybody soon.